Welcome to everyone. My name is Sain and let's begin with the extension of the British rules. In this video you are going to learn about the Anglo-Maratha Wars, the consolidation of the British power, the non-succession of rights for the adoptions children, Subsidiary alliance, the Anglo-Sikh War. Let's begin. To the Continental War, the English had made other European countries not to challenge them in India. They gained a complete political control over Bengal through the Plassey and the Boxer battle. By 1765, they had gained a control almost the eastern part of India. Since the Maratha and the Mysore state were dominated in the southern and the western part of India, the whole the British was restricted to Bengal and Bombay region only. Hyder Ali and the Tipu Sultan of Mysore along with the Peshwa of Maratha and were the only impediment in the part of the expansion for the British. The other were the Sikh in the northern western region and Ranjit Singh, who emerged in the later part of the 19th century, was a formidable and an opponent to the British. He was successful in organization of the Sikh. The British waged repeated the war from the mid of 18th century to the mid of 19th century to the extension of their empire in India. Apart from his day, the accent of the various kingdoms with the kerning of policy like the Subsidiary alliance and the Doctrine of the Lapse during the period of the British, the wages the three Anglo Wars, three Maratha Anglo Wars, 4 Mysore War and 2 Sikh War. The Anglo-Maratha War. The first Anglo-Maratha War was in 1775 to 1782. The Maratha initiated the Shah Alam II back to the throne of the Mughal Empire in Delhi. The Shah Alam II was under care of the British after the defeat in the Boxer battle. Now the emperor gave the Kora and the Allahabad to the Maratha, which had been earlier, and given them to the British. And this resulted to meeting between the Marathas and the British during this period. The death of Maratha, the strong man, the mother of Peshwa, was the major setback of the Maratha. Through his brother Narayan Rao come to the power, and he was murdered by the uncle Raghoba or Raghunath Rao. This was the result in infighting for the Peshwa the post. The Maratha Federation brought the mother of two of the Narayan Rao to the post of the Peshwa. Upset with this development, and Raghoba approached the British for the support. The British thought exploiting this situation in their favor along a power of wage from 1775 to 1782. Between the Maratha and the British initiated to the Marathas and gained upper hand, and later they had to be lost the Allahabad to the British. The Maratha Federation, unable to sustain the war within the British, finally they entered the Salaba Agreement and ended with the war. The mother too was named as the Peshwa. Now let's say about the Lord Wellesley in 1798 to 1805 and the Subsidiary alliance. The expansion of the British Empire took the place in the larger pace after the arriving of the Lord Wellesley as the Governor General of India. By this time, the powerful state of the Marathas and the Mysore had become weak, and the expansion of the easier. The Lord Wellesley followed the three policy and to the expansion of the British Empire in India, and they were the Subsidiary alliance, the weighing a war against a new state and administrating the state directly that were under the control of the British. The Subsidiary alliance. मुंह का आवाज कम कर जा रहा तेरा. The Lord Wellesley brought this policy into the effect in 1798 in order to bring the Indian state under the control. This was basically a military protection to agreement between the East India Company and the Indian states. Let's see the condition of the subsidiary alliance. The first, the Indian king had to keep a British army in his kingdom. Second, the concerned state had to bear the expansion of the army and the wages of the soldier, and also the given certain revenue land as well. The third one, the king has to have a British residential in his court. The king could not be appoint any other European without the permission of the British. Fifth one, in order to enter any agreement or a pact with any Indian government, the permission of the Governor General was mandatory. And the sixth one, in the return of this all service, the company would offer the protection to the state from any internal or any external aggression. The British could have placed the Indian state under their control, and through this policy and the maintenance of the army become easy. The Indian state were the subjected were the server to economical exploitation. The Hyderabad, the state, was the first state to enter this agreement, and later the Mysore, Awadh, Tanjore, Maratha, Pune, Bihar, Gwalior and other states entered this agreement. Let's say about the second Anglo-Maratha War in 1803 to 1805. The difference among the Maratha and the chief of the reason for this war was the emitting the broken out between the Yashwant Rao and the Holekar family and the Daulat Rao of the Sindh family, along with the Peshwa Balaji Rao too. In 1802, the army of the Holekar defeated the army of the Sindhi and the Peshwa. The Peshwa appealed for the help from the British. The Lord Wellesley finally got an opportunity to meddle with an affair of Maratha. The Peshwa entered the subsidiary alliance system, accepting the Treaty of Basin. And other Maratha family like Holekar, Gwalior and the Wellesley formed an alliance opposing this treaty. The Lord Wellesley defeated the army of various Maratha family from 1803 to 1805, but his battle was threatened, increasing the financial and the burden on the company. On being criticizing for the policy, the Lord Wellesley resigned from his post and returned to England, and this resulted the peace in the region. The Third Anglo War. The Third Anglo-Maratha War, 1817 to 1818. The Maratha family tried to their best to protect their independence and the honor. Even the Peshwa attempted to free himself from the clutch of the company. The Peshwa attacked the British residential in Pune and burned it down. The Upper Sahib of Nagpur and the Malara Holkar and the rebel against the British and were surprised to repel finally. The Peshwa Bajirao too fought against the British and the Koregaon and the Asti and later surrendered to the British. The British abolished the Peshwa, the post of the granted passion to the Bajirao too. They installed Patapar Sima, the descendant of the Shivaji, as the ruler of the Satara and misled the states, and named him as the traditional leader of the Maratha and the subsequent the Maratha resistance. The consolidation of the British power in 1818 to 1857. The British completed their agenda of ruling entire India from 1818 to 1857. They occupied the major states like Sindh, Awadh and the many other smaller states. Anglo-Sikh War, a political achieved the broken out in Punjab after the death of the King Ranjit Singh. In 1839, the British attempt to the invade of the Punjab and violating the continuous friendship pact, and they had with us the king. The December 1845, a war was broken between the British and the Punjab, sensing a dangerous from the outside force. The Hindus, the Sikh and the Muslims got together for the defeating the British, and finally they had to accept a defeat due to the feud failure or leader, and they had signed the humiliating the Lahore Agreement in 1846 within the British and the Restoration and become the factor ruler of Punjab. Like this, the Punjab become the dependent state of the East India Company. The Sikh opposed to attempt by the British to the ruler of the Punjab and directly. The opposed were led by the Chatur Singh, the Atriwal in Lahore and the Mulraj in Multan. Again the people, the Punjab were the defeated. Finally, the Lord Dalhousie merged the state of the Punjab within the British Empire, and the Dalhousie and the Doctrine of Lapse. The Dalhousie, who arrived in India as a Governor-General in 1848, made an attempt to integrate the Indian principle of the state with the British Empire. He adopted the doctrine of the Lapse policy, whereby the adopted children of the Indian king were refused of their rights to the throne. According to this policy, if any Indian ruler died without children, their adopted children had no legal rights over their throne, and such states were get merged within the British Empire. Principally, the states like Satara, Nagpur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi, Jaipur and come under this policy, as the Governor-General knew the condition of these states and he used this policy as a political weapon. With the several implementation of this policy, and not only the principal of this family, even the ordinary people who have the sympathy to the king, and this king was a rebel against the company. Their love for their king and the sensation of loyalty funneled the rebel for the further, and this finally result in the Seponi Muntai of 1857. And this finishes our video. I hope that you have been understand and this video. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, comment your opinion about this video and share it to your friends. Thanks for watching.